Hi, today I'm going to show you how to change your timing belt on your car. In this video, we're going to change the timing belt on a 2005 Volkswagen Touareg V8 4.2. This is a dual overhead cam engine. I already started by taking off the serpentine belt and draining the coolant from the radiator, as well as taking off the radiator fan. That's when I decided to make this video. There aren't any videos for this particular vehicle, so this is a first. Now I'm going to be doing a voiceover for the video because I just didn't like the way I described everything as I was doing it. So plus it just sounds way better when you do a voiceover. So let's just get on with the show. Okay, this right here is my tools. This is my engine compartment. Some of my tools, not all my tools. There's the timing belt. I don't know if you can see. Serpentine belt is off. This right here is the radiator. And that right there is where the fan was. That right there is the upper radiator hose. Part of it is metal, part of it is hose. And in my hand right there are the connections for the fan. Yeah, that arm right there and that one right there was connected to the radiator fan and via screws. One of them is bent because the fan was they were in my way when I was trying to take the fan out. This hose right here is pretty hard to get off. Right there is the clamp that you gotta remove to take it off. I put it back on because I couldn't take it off. I believe it's glued on. That hose right there is really hard. And I timed that pretty good. Alright, there's the coolant. I had to flush from the radiator on the bottom, and I'll show you how I did that right now. Alright, that right there is the cover that's under the car. That is actually another cover for the radiator that's in front of the first cover I just showed you. It's actually in front of the first cover I showed you. And I think I just said the same thing twice. So yeah. There is the radiator drain plug, that little blue thing right there. I had the car on jack stands because I was getting under there and it was pretty safer that way. Alright, here we are. That's the radiator below. Actually, that's not where the drain plug was. It's actually to the left. Those two holes right there is where the cover is bolted to. And there's another two on the other side. So they were hard to get off. Alright, I'm back over here because I forgot to mention that right there is connected to the upper radiator hose, and that's the line that goes straight to the reservoir right there. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm just showing you the cap. You want to open that to relieve the pressure before you drain the radiator. Make sure you do this when your car is cold, not hot. If your engine was running, you will burn yourself. Right there, the reason why you need to relieve the pressure, because if you don't, it can shoot over that fence that I'm showing you right there. just gonna come out very, very rapidly. So just make sure you do that. Relieve the pressure. Alright, let me see. I'm going to show you the serpentine belt tensioner, which is right there. That pulley right there. That I'm showing you is a 1/2-inch drive impact socket. I didn't have any regular sockets, so I used that to loosen the tension on it. I got it in there pretty good, but I got it out. Yeah, let's see. So that's how you do it. See, that's the harmonic balancer. The manufacturer's top dead center marks are right there where I'm pointing. I don't have it at top dead center yet, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But those are the marks right there. Okay, now that's the driver's side cam, and see that hole right there that I'm pointing to? That's the small hole, and that one right there on the right is the big hole. The big hole has to be on the left where the small hole is, right there. Same goes for this side. That's the small hole, that's the big hole. The big one has to go and line up right there, and line up with the big hole right there on that side. So in order to do that, that's the crankshaft. I don't know what they call that right there, but you have to turn it by hand. Alright, that's my combination wrench. It's 1-inch SAE, not metric. That's actually what I used to turn over the crankshaft by hand. So this is how you do it. It's not really hard to do. Pretty simple. You don't need to be bodybuilder to do it. A little resistance, not much. Alright, let me just fast forward it a little bit. I'm turning it all the way so I can get the marks at top dead center. And I'll show you that in a minute. Alright, there are all the marks. The marks on this car have to be around 1 o'clock, which are right there. See the 2 notches? Alright. Now, back to the holes. There is the big hole, there is the little hole. The big hole right there is lined up with this big hole right there, and that big hole switched with that little hole. So I did 1 full revolution on that, and now they line up. Everything's at top dead center.
Now
To verify that I got everything at top dead center, I put the center cover on, center timing belt cover on, and there's the notch over there where I'm pointing at. Well, this cover right here, I was just showing you the clips. I'm holding it by my hand. There's the notch on the cover, and there is the notch on the harmonic balancer where I'm pointing. It lines up with the cover, so that shows you right there that you're at top dead center. Alright, So just in case you can't see, that's the notch right there. Did a little close up. Alright, that's my breaker bar. The breaker bar is right there in with the crankshaft, connected to a bolt. There's 8 of them actually. I'm leaving it right there hanging so I can show you while I record. There's 8 of those bolts. They're in there pretty tight. Not tight enough where I can't get them out with a socket, a regular socket ratchet. But I just really don't want to bang up my knuckles, so to make life easier for myself, I just loosened them with the breaker bar. It was just a whole lot easier. Bolts, all 8 of them, got them out, and now I just got to take off the harmonic balancer. Alright, now that's my pry bar. I believe it's my long one. Yeah, that's the long one. There are other ways to take the harmonic balancer off, but this one wasn't really in there. That it wasn't that hard to take out, so decided to use the pry bar. Just pry it out little by little, you know, wiggle it in, go left, you know, pry it left, then go to the right, pry it a little bit. So I just kept going back and forth until it was a little loose. You know, just be gentle, don't go crazy. As you can see, I'm doing everything slow, making sure don't score anything, scratch anything. Don't want to go really fast and then the harmonic balancer comes off and falls on the ground and you scratch it up, you know, you nick it really bad. Then you might have to get a new one. I stop right here because I need both hands to hold it so I don't drop it, and it's basically off. Alright, there it is. Got it off. Those were the 8 bolts. The middle hole is where it goes right into the crankshaft. That right there is a notch that I'm showing you with some pliers. That notch goes to the crankshaft where the pliers are pointing. That basically means that you have to align the harmonic balancer to that notch. On to the next step. There's a cover right there. That cover is in a way, that's the tensioner right there, and right below where my finger is a tensioner adjuster. It is an oil damped piston driven adjuster. I need to get that out. So in order to get that out, I have to take that cover off right there. Basically I have to compress the piston on the tensioner adjuster, put a pin through it, and so it can relieve the tension on the timing belt. Let's see, I gotta take that bolt out. That's a 1/2 inch bolt. That bolt out as well. There's a bolt on the bottom, but you can't see it. I don't know if you can. And that bolt right there on the side. So, gonna do that right now. I got the cover out. There you can see the holes where the bolts were, right there, there, and on the side number 4. That one was the hardest to get out. Reason being is because it was getting wedged up against right over there where I am about to point right there. So what I did was I chipped that out with a chisel and a hammer. I don't suggest you do that. If you can get it out without it, fine. But as you can see, it was getting wedged in over there. I wasn't able to get it out. So I just chiseled a little piece off. It really isn't that big of a deal, but again, I don't suggest it because it's just not professional. Especially if you are working on the customer's car, then don't do it. Fortunately, this is my own car, so I did it. Now that we have the cover off, you can see the tension adjuster that I was telling you about. There's the piston on top. It has a hole in there. Pin goes in. There are the 3 bolts. I gotta take those off so we could take the adjuster off. Don't you love how things just magically come off? Okay, got the bolts out, one there, there, and there. There is the hole on the piston right there where I'm pointing. I'm gonna compress it with that C-clamp the way I'm holding it. You can see the hole right there and the one right below it where my finger is, and those holes go all the way through, so which is what I need to do once I compress the piston. As you can see, the other 2 on the other side, that's the front. Just got to compress that down and put a pin straight through to the other side. Alright, I compressed it. It was fairly easy to do. It took me about 1.5 minutes to do. The pin goes straight through all the way to the other side. As you can see, you have to compress it slowly. You can't just force it. I did take it out right there where those 3 holes were. So, but just take your time. That's why it took me 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes to compress. Alright, I got the tensioner adjuster back in. I don't remember taking the tensioner off, but I do have it right there. I mean, I didn't make a clip of it, but we got to put it back in with that pulley. So here we go. Alright, now that we got the tensioner in, let's put on the pulley. Voila! Magic! Not really, I just screwed it on. Alright, I don't know if you noticed, but the belt was off before I even put the tensioner back on. And also, as you can see, I managed to get the upper radiator hose off. Moved it to the side, tied it down. It was actually glued on there pretty tight. So let's put the belt on now. I had to take out the tension adjuster again because I needed some slack in order to put the belt back on. As you can see now, I have all the slack in the world. See, now the tensioner could go down all the way because the adjuster's not in the way. Yeah, so the belt is on now because I have slack. Now we gotta put the adjuster back on. When I put it on, I'm gonna pull that pin out. It's gonna push the piston up and it's gonna give tension to the tensioner. I got the belt on. I also got the tensioner adjuster back in, as you can see right there, with the pin in. Now all I gotta do is take the pin out. I'm gonna take a pair of pliers and pull them out. Let's do this, Brutus. Alright, I'm pulling out the pin with the pliers.
Grazie. I will take care of the plans and the machines. There is far graver news, I'm afraid. They have...
Grenade! Okay.
Yes, I know.
That's what those... There's the pin. That's what those tensioners are sometimes referred to. Grenade tensioner adjusters. Got the belt on. Now we do everything in reverse. First thing in the reversal process is to put that cover back on. Now that we got the cover back on, right there, we gotta put the hose back on. That hose right there, back on, right there. I took it off because I needed to get to that bolt right there and the hose was in my way. So let's put it back on. Don't know why the hose is a little blurry on this clip. But got the hose back in. Alright. Now we gotta put the serpentine belt tensioner right there under the cover that we put in before. So I'm gonna do that right now. Alright, I'm just going to finish putting the bolt in on the tensioner for the serpentine belt. Just get it hand tight. That's it, it's in. Now, that was a hex bit. I believe it was either 7 or an 8 hex bit socket. Now we gotta get our harmonic balancer back on with those 8 bolts to go right back in there. And I gotta put it in right over there onto the crankshaft. There we are, harmonic balancer on. Since we've got the harmonic balancer back in, your next step was to put the serpentine belt back on. There's your serpentine belt. Now next step would be now to put the radiator fan back on, which is that big bulky fan right there. Alright, got the fan back in, got the hose back on, everything's back in, coolant's back in, and that's basically how you do your timing belt. Make sure you crank it by hand manually 1 turn before you start it up. There's your timing belt.